Hey guys, welcome back to the farm. Hey, 2019 attached garage barn build. I never went over this with you, but I've been thinking more with the prices of everything, inflation. What did this cost back then? And what's it gonna cost today? I'll need your help on that. Or leave a comment down below and tell me what you think of 40 by 56 with 12 by 16 breezeway attached to an original 1912 one-room schoolhouse would cost. Fun fact, this barn, finished interior and exterior, cost the same amount as that house did in 2002. Now, a lot's happened since 2019. We had COVID, we had, remember them sheets of OSB were 20 bucks a piece? Well, that was all built beforehand. Shout out to the guy that built it, Jim Groskoff out of Attica. When he lined this out, this area was extremely low. I found some pictures I'm going to overlay here just to show you how low it was. I had to move in a bunch of loads of fill. I ended up lining blocks along here and these rocks, the retaining wall, and we attached it. I had a small garage in there I had to disassemble, but when I called him up, he says, you know, to do this right, you need to fill it in. And if you don't fill it in, I'm not going to build it. He pounded some corner stakes in and said, bring in some packing sand and a bulldozer. Let me know when you got it filled up. And just by the attitude that he had, I knew right then and there that was the right man for the job. He used to say you can build them too low, but you can't build them too high. So the retaining wall, that was a great idea to hold up all the fill. Ended up putting some field stone in here from over the years off the farm. These are all antique rocks. And then I had a big, you know, it was up 4 foot almost, you had to fill it in. So I had to come up with some rock flower beds and taper it off. She was sitting way up there. Now the concrete I'm going to go over, that included a lot of extras. That included the barn floor. That included this ramp. I had to have a way out of the backside of it. And then there was a big hole. This was all sand and just runoff. No gutters or anything at the time. Since then, we filled it in, planted a tree for Mom. God rest her soul, lost her a year later. Actually got a small video of her in here as it was getting insulated, her and the wife and kids, but lost her anyway. This was included, this piece to attach to the deck. They built this. So let's head in here and I'll give you some figures and you can tell me what you think this thing would cost nowadays. This is your little breezeway to attach to the house. I gotta tell you, giving that builder a shout out, when I decided to build this, I didn't expect it to be attached to the house. I told him I just wanted a big barn, big as I could get on the property. This is an acre attached to the farm, but it's only an acre deeded out. And that is a one-room schoolhouse built in 1912. One previous owner made it into a house in the 70s, and then they died early 2000. I bought it 2002. So the original barn, I found the receipts. I was going through it with them pictures. This barn package was 40 grand. A 40 by 56 attached to the house with this little breezeway. That's material and labor. $40,000. It's 14-foot ceiling. Those are 12-foot doors. And the reason I did that is because I listened to his recommendation. He says, you don't want to build them too short. So if you ever get a motorhome, you're going to want to be able to bring it in. I'm not much of a motorhome camper type, but another reason was he laid this out, bathroom, office, loft area for storage. And we'll go up there in a little bit. But that way, when you're up there, you can stand up in the building and you're not, if it's a 12-foot ceiling, it's just too low. So once the building was built, like I said, it was $40,000. My intention was to do the whole entire thing all in one shot, about one summer. Next came the concrete. That's next in line. Ended up getting some friends of ours that have a business. They poured this 6 inches thick with rebar, put me in 3 drains right here. Drains are very essential in a building like this. I had a lot of salt, a lot of cold up here in Michigan. I pull her van in here in my truck. I've got water coming right out of my bathroom right here. And you wash them right down, turn the heat on. We'll get into that heat in a little bit. So the concrete alone on this project was like $15,000. I'm going to show you what else that entailed. That was this pad here. This was a mess, I'm telling you. Before the building, there was a big hole here. They finished all this and attached it right to my existing cement. That's a very old piece of cement right there. And then they poured me an approach. The fence was all added in the last 5 years, and this asphalt driveway was as well. So the approach and this centerpiece, and there's those two little pieces in the back I told you are part of it. That was $15,000, material and labor. Looking back, I think that was a heck of a deal. So at this point, we're at $55,000, building, concrete, no insulation at this point. On the agenda when doing a building like this, I wanted to get it spray foamed, so I called a guy out of Marlette. Spray foamed all the walls, and well, I take that back. Before the spray foam guy came in, I had to order the ceiling. They had to put that ceiling in there. For some reason, off the top of my head, I remember just the material alone for that ceiling was like $4 grand. And the guys put it up, you know, it looks like you just slap a ceiling up, but you know, you're 14 foot up there. They put the ceiling in. We'll take that back again. They did the wiring. They wired the whole thing. Wiring was like $3,500, which was a pretty good deal because he had to put me a panel out here. And you know, you can imagine he put plugs on every post, 3-bay lights, wired up there for the garage door openers. They knew what they were doing. So once the wiring was in, then he said, okay, now you got to order the ceiling, put the ceiling in. So when the spray foam guy comes, he spray foams the whole thing, and then they blow a ceiling in. He blew the ceiling in. When he came in here, he ended up spray foaming that whole ceiling instead of blowing it because it was so small. He just blew it right in with that spray foam. So now the spray foam's coming in. All the installation for this building was $8,000. Like I said, wiring was $3,500, and then the rest of the steel for the whole thing. Now I'm counting the ceiling being $4 grand. The steel ended up being $10,000. Building, concrete, steel, ceiling, insulation, we're roughly at about $77,000 in 2019, and we're going to jack it back up to make it about a clean $80,500. When he added that loft, he added my office, and he added this bathroom. They were at $80,000. Now the barn came with the doors. This door came off my other garage. That's why that's there. I was already paid for it. So we're at 80 grand. And what else I did, I tacked on an extra $10,000 to get it to this point. And I'll elaborate here. The garage door openers, that's not included. I think those were $750 for the pair. I got a hanging fan that came out of a gymnasium. That's wired on a switch. My heater, that's plumbed in my wood burner outside. That was an additional $1,500. I had a 220 before they put the ceiling in. He ran a 220 spot right over here, so I didn't know what I was going to be doing in this area. Turns out that runs on 220. It heats the barn pretty good. It's rated, I got it on right now, it's 55 in here. It's rated at 2,000 square foot. And I'm trying to think of any extras I had. I mean, he laid up can lights up there. We just didn't cheap out. Well, one other thing that's going to contribute to that extra 10 grand I'm talking about is, what's he got here? He tied the building, see all these can lights he put in? He tied this building to the house. Now it's attached, but initially it didn't have this overhang. And it looked good, it looked fine, but the overhang is what really ties it together and makes it one. Almost like you can't even tell that this is from 1912, this is from 2019. I've had people come here delivering food or Rochelle's friends, and they'll say, they're really looking at the whole house, and they're saying, is this a brand new build? And I look at them and smile. I said, that's a 1912. 1912? Another pretty decent expense to put this up to $90,000. There's the big one. I wanted to get that. This cost $90,000. Was then I had to put all them gutters around it, front and back. Those aren't cheap. So that put the whole project at $90,000. Again, drop in the comments below what you think it would cost today. Let me turn these lights off. We don't want to suck any more electricity than we have to. Oh, and there's one more extra. When they had to, I had this overhang over my deck, and I had them tie it and continue it on right here to make it look, and then they added the lights, and the lights work. So, and then like I said, there was a big mound of sand here. He did tie these steps in for me, and that was done. And then there was nothing here. We added this patio on, you know, a couple years ago, but I tell you, I couldn't imagine living without this garage now. We just use it so much. What we use it for Christmas now that we lost Mom, we host Christmas here. I mean, we brought these big boulders off the farm. I needed a spot, needed to really build this up because I wanted to stay away from that thing with the lawnmower. And stone, you can never go wrong because they don't blow away and they don't grow a lot of weeds. Drop a comment down below, guys. Let me know what you think. 90 grand. Got any builders on here? What do you think it'd cost now? And so that means that house was $90,000 in 2002. It didn't look like that in 2002. It was a one-room schoolhouse, one bedroom. Now I've turned it into a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 3-bath, counting the garage. It just goes to show you, you can really turn something into something if you put all your resources into it and you really love the place, you know. But it had a solid foundation. That was the biggest part about it. And I just knew I wanted something. I learned that from my dad. He always had a barn, except his barn was only 12 foot. And when my builder suggested to go 14, spray foam, that's what I did. So I'm glad you tagged along, guys. Don't forget to leave your guess in the comments below. Would it be the same price or would it be more? Take care. Spring's coming. Warm up. No hat or gloves on. Take care. God bless.